Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Food Sessions and feedSCV's main dish. I'm Todd Wilson, and today, if you can't guess what we've got, well, we've got some cheese, some vegetables, some bread. What is more romantic for February than fondue? It's an intimate dish, right? My wife and I, when we met at Arizona State some 24 years ago, one of our favorite date nights when we loved to splurge was to go to a fondue restaurant in Scottsdale. And to me, there'll be always something very romantic and very shared special between us with fondue. And I'm going to be honest, fondue is all about two things in my opinion: the cheese course and the dessert course. Today we're going to focus on the cheese. A lot of people love to do a lot of entree courses with fondue. It was hugely popular from the 50s, like through the late 70s, early 80s. And it sort of died off and then came back a little bit. But you know what? I'll show you today that it's very easy to make a great cheese fondue that is sensual and delicious, and quite frankly can be an intimate meal shared with you and a loved one, or with the whole family. We love to have the kids come together and we stir up a pot of cheese, and we honestly just leave it sit on the kitchen counter because it can't ever get to the table. So we're gonna make some cheese fondue today, and we're gonna talk about how to prepare it and how to enjoy it. To make a good cheese fondue, the first thing you need to have is good cheese. This cheese fondue uses two different cheeses: Emmentaler Swiss, which is not just regular Swiss cheese, but a specific kind of Swiss cheese. You can find it any place you're going to have good cheeses. Probably some of the better grocery stores, definitely at Whole Foods, also at Trader Joe's. My wife loves to make a weekend trip down to Trader Joe's and grab everything we need for some cheese fondue, and Emmentaler Swiss is there, as well as some medium cheddar. You probably don't want mild because there's not a lot of flavor to a mild cheddar, and you don't want extra sharp or sharp because it's going to have too much of a bite that really won't go well with the concept of fondue. You sort of want something, again, just sort of relaxing and enjoyable. Too much bite and you'll take it out of that. So Emmentaler Swiss, medium cheddar. You can use white cheddar like a Cabot or something like that. I use yellow cheddar. I like the color a little bit better, but you can keep it all white. Original Swiss fondue was all made with Swiss cheeses and always white, but here we're going to throw in a little bit of cheddar, actually more cheddar than Swiss, and enjoy it. So let's start by shredding up some cheese. Now you can buy at the grocery store shredded cheeses already. Don't. And I'll tell you why. Any cheese that you buy that's pre-shredded is going to have some sort of non-binding agent, meaning usually it's cellulose, which is okay to eat. It's not bad for you, but when you mix it in fondue, it makes it gritty. It makes it clump together. It does the exact opposite of what it does in the bag, and gives you a texture you don't want. So shred your own cheese. You can use a box grater like this. You can use a food processor if you like. I like the box grater because it gives smaller pieces of cheese a little bit of a finer texture. You could even go for the really thin side if you want, but my food processor usually ends up with really long pieces of cheese, and that makes it a little harder to melt. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is weigh this out. It does call for a measurement by weight. So you want 2 ounces of your Emmentaler. That's about 1.5. I need a little bit more. We are at 1.9, and I'm going to call that close enough with the scraps here. And then we need 6 ounces of your cheddar. So this is an 8-ounce block. So we're going to use most of this. It's okay that we're getting these crumbles. You're just breaking the cheese up to melt faster and easier. You don't necessarily need to worry about uniformity. So the crumbles will be fine. Let's go ahead and weigh this. So I've got about 2 ounces. So I need to get a total of 8. I'm at 5.5, 6.5, 7, and there's 8. All right, we've got our cheese. We've got 2 kinds, the Emmentaler Swiss and the medium cheddar. And you can see here it's clumping a little bit together when I grab it together. So we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And that's gonna help keep it apart. Again, when you're bringing it together in the pot, you're gonna want it to not clump up. And so the cornstarch is better than the cellulose in terms of keeping those separate. So you just need to add this in. And again, as the cheese, when you do this, it'll keep the cheese apart, let it melt slowly and come together naturally. It's sort of an emulsifier, but also once you do get it all melted, it serves as a good thickener, so it's nice and sticky cheese. It sticks to anything you're gonna dip in it, which we'll get to in a little bit. Also, an easy way to keep this nice and neat and not make a giant mess everywhere is to just dump all this in a zip top bag and then throw all the cornstarch in and then just shake it around. So we can put that aside, and we need to get out our fondue pot. Now you can buy, let me get this for you. You can buy a fondue pot, an electric one. Right now, I looked on Amazon. They're going at a premium pace right now. I'm not sure if that's because of the lockdown and everybody's trying to do something different at home, or if it's because it's the Valentine's Day holiday. But this one in particular is about $65 to $70, usually found at those stores where you get kitchen appliances or maybe things for your bedroom or your bathroom, not naming names. And you can get this. This is one particular brand. They have others. The other thing you can do if you don't want to make the investment is use a double boiler setup, which you can just take a pot of boiling water and throw like a metal bowl over the top. So we've got our fondue pot. It's warming up. The first thing we want to start with is the secret ingredient, light beer. We don't need this full thing, but we do need about a half a cup just to get started. And I'll get a little whisk. We add in 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, and 1 teaspoon of mustard powder. And we just keep that going to combine. And once we know that's nice and hot, you can see it bubbling. We start to add our cheese just a little bit at a time. Again, we don't want this to clump up and get nasty. But instead we want it to come together nicely. Don't do any more than about 1/3 at a time. But you can see how hot this is. You know, start on high and work your way down. If it's gonna overcook, you can turn it down. The nice thing about an electric one, or even a double boiler, is you can control the heat very well. Let's see that coming together nicely. So we're gonna keep going. Bring that together. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells so good. All right, I think we are good and safe. Doesn't take very long at all. This is ready in minutes. Again, it's a great thing to have. If you've got a fondue pot at home, it's one of those tools that if you got some cheese, you got some beer, you got a few veggies, you can go ahead and mix this up in no time at all. That's where we want it. All right, so what do you eat your fondue with? Anything you like. I mean, what doesn't go great with when it's dipped in cheese, right? But you can do things like Granny Smith apples. The crunchy apple and the tart taste goes great with the smooth, creamy texture of the cheese. Just chop it up into little cubes. Really rough. You don't want them to be so small. This set comes with a set of fondue forks, those little tiny things that are usually have some color on the end, so you know which one's yours and which one's not. So when you have a fondue party and all your friends over, you can keep your own forks. But if you don't have those, fear not. You can use a toothpick. You can use a bamboo skewer. I'm just gonna grab a fork. Of course, you can also grab some veggies, broccoli, celery, even little baby carrots are great for it. And I can't forget bread. Some fresh, toasted or not even, baguette goes great when it's dipped in there. Some good crunchy, crispy bread. If you want to learn how to make baguettes, you can check out our website, feedSCV.org, and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/feedSCV. We have a great instruction on how to make some delicious baguette. And that's really how easy it is to make cheese fondue at home. It's not that difficult at all, and it's a great treat. I just love having it. Check out youtube.com/feedSCV to find out more about this recipe and also how to make a great entree using Coq au vin burgundy style fondue with your meats. And of course, all of our recipes are online at feedscv.org. Also coming up in March is our annual Pie Day fundraiser on March 14th. We will be auctioning off pies made by the community to raise money for feedSCV to help us continue our mission of making sure that everybody in the Santa Clarita Valley has the skills and the knowledge and the opportunity to make a good, healthy meal at home like this or many others. So check that out. Details online at feedscv.org/Pie Day, Piday. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and see more of what we're up to here at feedSCV. Once again, for Food Sessions and feedSCV, I'm Todd Wilson. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, this is Alexis Shahin. With the spirit of St. Valentine in the air, today we are going to make strawberry turnovers. Valentine's Day is an extra special day, and whether you're single or happily taken, you will always impress your loved ones with these quick and easy strawberry turnovers made with puff pastry and stuffed with fresh strawberry filling. Here's the ingredients that you're going to need, and it's not that many. 3/4 cup of quartered strawberries, 1/3 cup of white sugar, 1/4 cup of water, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 tablespoon of lemon juice, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of water, 1 tablespoon of butter, and then additional 1/2 cup of quartered strawberries. For the dough, you can pick up some pre-made puff pastry sheets. Any grocery store will carry them. You'll also need 1 large egg, 1 tablespoon water, 1/4 cup of turbinado sugar, and that's it. Begin by rinsing your strawberries to remove any dirt. Hull the strawberries and cut them into quarters. And then stir together the strawberries, sugar, and water in a saucepan over medium heat until the sugar is dissolved. Bring the mixture to a boil and make sure that you stir it frequently. Once it's brought to a boil, reduce the heat and then add the vanilla and lemon juice. Next, in a small cup, combine your cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water. Make sure you give this a good mix so that no clumps are present. Pour the cornstarch mixture into the boiling strawberry mixture. Stir it and then allow it to boil over medium to low heat for about 4 to 5 minutes or until the mixture has thickened a bit. One handy trick to test if your mixture is thick enough is to run your finger across the spatula. If a clear pathway is created, then you'll know that your mixture is thickened. Remove the pan from the heat and add 1 tablespoon of butter. Mix it until the butter has completely melted. Take a moment to tune into your senses. Notice the aromas in the air and the beautiful color of your strawberry mixture. Strawberries tend to offer a beautiful light pink or a blush color red to the mixture all on their own. If you prefer something richer, a little more deep in color, then you might consider adding a very small drop of red food coloring. Allow this strawberry mixture to cool for 15 minutes. Then add the last half cup of quartered fresh strawberries. While you wait for your strawberry mixture to cool completely, you can preheat your oven to 400 degrees and start to prepare your puff pastry dough. Gently unfold the puff pastry sheets into a sheet pan. Puff pastry dough is pretty versatile. You can cut it into any shape you want. I thought these heart-shaped cookie cutters would be sure to make some hearts bloom. Using the cookie cutter, cut out as many heart shapes as you can from each sheet of puff pastry dough. Keep in mind that you'll need 2 hearts for each turnover. Spoon 2 to 3 strawberry pieces into the center of each heart, draining most of the syrup as you do this. Now, before you put the tops on, in a small bowl, whisk together the egg and water. Using a small pastry brush, brush some of the egg mixture around the edges of the heart that has the strawberry filling in the center. Then place a second heart right on top and gently press the edges using your finger. Then use the tins of a fork to press the pastry closed along the 2 open edges. Use your pastry brush to spread the egg wash on top of the puff pastry hearts, covering them entirely. Finally, you're going to make a small little slice in the top of the heart so that some of the juices can drain out if necessary during the baking process. And then you'll want to sprinkle some of that turbinado sugar right on top, just to give it an extra special home-baked look. Place all of your prepared strawberry turnovers onto a baking sheet with a rubber Silpat underneath. If you don't have a Silpat, you can use parchment paper. Place the tray into the oven and bake your turnovers for about 12 to 13 minutes or until they are golden brown. Remove the turnovers from the oven and allow them to cool completely. All right, now here comes my favorite part, taste test time. I cannot wait to sink my teeth into one of these. Let's try it out. All right, my friends, it's as simple as that. Easy strawberry pastries that will melt in your mouth and melt some hearts. These are the cutest addition to your Valentine's Day brunch, or maybe just a sweet indulgence for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this tutorial has brought you some joy and has inspired you to get into the kitchen and make something wonderful. See you next time.
Hey there, Tamra here. Are you ready for more tips and tricks in the kitchen? Hi, this is Tamra Levine, Director of Catering at Salt Creek Grille, owner, chef, and event stylist at Heritage Lane Productions. We're going to continue with our tips and tricks in the kitchen today, and we're going to talk about knife sharpening. So you have a choice of what you can use in the kitchen for sharpening. So here's some examples. This is what we call a whetstone mechanical sharpener, and this is a handheld sharpener that can be found probably like at Target, Kohl's, Walmart. All these can be found in all of those different spots. And then I also have a tri-stone. But first, let's talk about a steel, because this is going to come with your knife kits that you buy. So this is a steel, and they're usually approximately 12 inches long. This is used in between when you're prepping out a meal This will not sharpen your knife, but it will hone it, which means it will realign. So the blade of your knife is going to, the little teeth, so to speak, are going to come apart. And when you use the steel, it just kind of realigns. So as you are working in the kitchen, the edge of the blade that starts off so nice and pointed and sharp, is going to end up kind of unraveling, let's say. So what this steel is going to do is it's going to help to realign all of that unraveling. So we have the steel, we have a variety of different sharpeners. No matter whether it's the steel or any of this tri-stone or this handheld sharpener, whetstone, you're going to have more than one surface that you're going to be working on. So you have a fine, very, very, very smooth surface, and you're going to have one that has more grit. The whetstone has to be soaked in water for at least 10 minutes before you use it, okay? Whether you're using the whetstone, whether you're using the tri-stone, you need to make sure that you have a flat surface. You need to either have a rubber mat, you need to have a wet towel, whether it be paper towel, whether it be side towel, so that you have a very, very steady surface. If your stones are moving and the blade slips off, then it could slip onto you and bodily harm, so we don't want that. So whetstone, this is a mechanical sharpener where the mechanic is you and you're pulling your blade through. There are sharp, really, really sharp blades inside that are going to address the edges of your blade and make them sharp. This handheld one, again, 2 different grits on the sides, but what this one is really interesting is that it has little notches and blades inside for you to pull your knife or your scissors through. So that's a little fun thing with this one. I personally prefer the tri-stone. I've been working with a tri-stone for years. So you've got 3 different sides. Each one is going to have go from a coarser to a finer grit. This is coarse, medium coarse, and a finer. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a side towel and I'm going to take a mineral oil. You don't want to use a cooking oil because that can turn rancid. You see that there is a whole box that this sits in. Well, in the bottom of the box, it's actually a collection space for any of the mineral oil that drops off. So you're going to go ahead, squeeze it along, rub it really well. You don't want to use paper towel because then you can have all kinds of little bits that is collected onto the grit itself. I'm going to start off, might as well get them all 3 done, all 3 sides to begin with, then you don't have to stop in between each. And a little bit more, rub a little bit more. And then this is my fine side, so I want to go back to my coarsest grit. This one here, make sure I'm locked in there. So whether you're using a steel or you're using one of these stones, you always want to go in the same direction, whether I go from heel to tip or you go from tip to heel. With the steel, you're going to hold it pretty close to vertical. Obviously, this is going to be horizontal. Now, angle is going to be a total of about 45 degrees on the blade itself, which means I'm going to want to go 20 to 22 degrees on each side. So if this is 90, then half of 90 is going to be approximately 45. Half of 45 is going to be approximately 20 to 22. I like to go from heel to tip, so I'm going to get around to my 22, and I go straight across, or right in an arch, and then back the same way. About 5 strokes on each side, on each grit. Let's see. Much better. Let's see if I can tear and cut right through some piece of paper, and that's going to be my true test. This isn't as sharp as we want. We need to go back and we need to do a little bit more on each side. Okay, good session today. Lots of tips and tricks for your kitchen. So until next time, remember, there's a tool for every task in the kitchen. Cheers.
my name is Chef Sabina, and this is a 5-minute version of Sabina Creates. Today, I'm going to show you how to make pico de gallo. What is pico de gallo? Is it salsa? Short answer, yes, it is. Usually, salsas that you're accustomed to that you get at a Mexican restaurant or that you pick off the shelves at a grocery store is a cooked salsa. But pico de gallo is what is referred to as a salsa fresca. It is a fresh, chopped salsa with fresh ingredients, tomatoes, onions, lime, fresh chilies, cilantro, garlic. You can get creative. You can add cucumbers. I'm sure you've seen it with mango, watermelon, anything that you can put in it that's fresh and seasonal, you can add to a pico de gallo. So what you want to do with your pico de gallo, and I've kind of done this ahead of time to save some time, is you want all your ingredients to be roughly the same size. Now, what I like to do with cooking is I'm not going to tell you, hey, you want 3 cups of this and 1 cup of that. It's all about feel. It's all about how it's going to blend together and taste good to you. So I've got about 4 cups of diced tomatoes. And I'm going to put 4 cups of diced tomatoes right here in my bowl. And they're all about the same size. And to that, I'm going to add, and they're about a quarter inch. I'm going to add just until I feel that it's a good mix. My onion, fresh onion. You know, what's really cool about a pico de gallo, aside from it being amazing and fresh and wonderful and crisp and delicious, did you know that there are health benefits to this? Onions have antibacterial and anti-inflammatory benefits. Pretty good, huh? So you're not just getting a wonderful fresh bite. So once I get done mixing this together, I'm going to add my garlic, which, another helpful benefit, garlic, great for your heart. So we're going to add the garlic. Now, one of the key items to your pico de gallo is your chili. There's 2 ways to go with chili. You can use your jalapeno or you can use your serrano. The jalapeno you're going to use more of, the serrano you're going to use less of. Now, depending on what kind of heat you want, you're going to either take out your seeds or you're going to leave your seeds in. I leave the seeds in because I like a little extra kick. So these are my serranos. This is 1 serrano diced super fine. So you're going to dice that really fine. Another helpful hint, make sure you're wearing gloves when you dice your serranos because you cannot get that capsaicin off of your hands and it'll be on there forever, or at least until the next morning. You get that all nice and stirred in. You're going to add some lime juice for your zing. And then some fabulous salt. I'm a little bit obsessed with Ray Dunn. You can see behind me, I have a lot of Ray Dunn stuff. So we're going to add some salt. And we're going to add our cilantro, which also does have a little kick to it. Now, aside from being just wonderful and fresh, there's so many uses. Rather than just going to the store and buying this, just think of all the things you can use this for. I like to use this instead of a salad dressing. Great on top of fish, chicken, beef, meat. My friend loves to put it on top of her rice as a rice topping. We use it at work. We put it on tacos, or, you know, there's all sorts of other great things you can do with it, or, you know, grab yourself a chip, dip it in, take a bite. That's fresh. That's good. And hot. That is a fresh Serrano. Well, that's got a lot of heat. That's got a lot of kick.
feedSCV Food Sessions, February 2014. What year is it? 20. Food Sessions, February 2021. All 4 cameras. Marker. A little bit better, but you can keep it all white. Original OG Swiss. Original OG Swiss. Original OG Swiss. Why can't I put Swiss and fondue together? Does anybody else have that problem? Couldn't wait anymore. Couldn't.